we're going to discuss the influence of technology in homeschool and whether it hinders the education or is beneficial. I am doing this little mini series on my channel. If you are new here, I'm Nickie. I'm a homeschool mom to an only child in 4th grade. I kind of just want to tackle some topics that either have been left as questions in the comments of some of my videos, or just random topics that I want to discuss with you that's not so much like just, flip throughs and reviews and talking about curriculum and such. So if you have any questions or topics that you want me to tackle, please leave them down in the comments. Let's just get into technology in our homeschool. I want to back it up before the thought of homeschooling was even a thing for me, and take it back to before I was a parent. I remember being that person and going, oh my God, like, why are these people putting like rules around screen times for these kids that I knew were parents at the time? And that this whole like idea of like screens was like, oh, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna damage their brain and whatnot. And I just remember thinking like, oh my God, like screens aren't gonna do that. And so it got to the point that when I became a parent, I let my child watch a lot of screens. And to the point where I started to correlate the screen time with her behavior. And as a toddler, as a young child who would sit there and watch, Sesame Street or whatever, Daniel Tiger and all those things over and over and over again, I did notice that the amount of tantrums was excessive, but I still didn't put that piece together. And then as she got older, we got into meltdowns and arguments and stuff like that. And so as time went on, I really started to determine that screens did play a very effective role in her behavior. So when I started to homeschool, I was nervous about including screens in our day-to-day because of that behavioral aspect. But what I have come to realize is that screens can be super beneficial for your kids, even when, my head is cut off and everything in this video because I'm sitting in my car trying to prop my phone. So I apologize if I look wonky or sound wonky or you hear background noise. I'm in a parking lot waiting for my daughter to get done with an activity, and I have to do this when I have time because I'm a busy mom these days. So anyways, I really, I know the benefits of using a screen in our homeschool. And this year, especially her 4th grade year, she is doing things more independently to where she has to use a screen because she has a video option to learn the lesson as well as a written option. And so I noticed that I do really need to set limits and boundaries around screens for them to be beneficial to us. Otherwise, it can quickly fall into that category of like, heck no, we're never using this again, because I can notice a behavioral aspect to it. So there are so many educational programs out there. There are so many websites. There are so many podcasts. There are so many games, educational games that are on like online and on tablets, and just having that access to research at the drop of a dime and pull up a QR code that might be on a page or might be somewhere, or pull up Google and Google something, or Kindle or whatever educational website you allow your kid, or search engine that you allow your kid to utilize. I have noticed that, it's just, we are growing up in the era of technology. We can hinder it from our children for as long as we can, but eventually they're just going to be surrounded by it. It is everywhere. It is to do everything. You can almost never do any, you can't even fill out a job application without going on a computer to do so anymore. So it's about learning ways to incorporate technology into our life in a healthy way. Setting those boundaries, like I said, and restrictions, restrictions, restrictions. My daughter is allowed to play educational games, but it can quickly, like I used to be like, oh yeah, you can play as long as you're playing an educational game. But then it turned into, well, I'm going to utilize this because it's still a game. And so she would want to stay on it all day. And I noticed that the behavioral came out in that as well. So yes, I think that it doesn't hinder a child's education. In fact, I think it broadens their education because their internet is a wide array of resources. And I know you can get those resources at the library and a lot of other places, but the internet is just a really helpful tool. It's a helpful resource, and we definitely utilize that in our homeschool. Now, don't come at me. We definitely have restrictions around screen time, like I've mentioned. We have timers. We have, I actually bought her a Google Chromebook just so that I could put in more restrictions on her laptop and have ways of managing the things that she does. And I know that she can't really do a lot because the computer is just like a very basic kind of computer. So I have put a lot of thought and effort into creating these things for her. So now it's going to really be about having those restrictions, but allowing her to do the things that she needs to do for school. Now, we have come across where she has these time limits on her devices, and like we have taken away the iPad completely because I noticed the behavioral issues with the iPad. And there's something about YouTube and YouTube Kids that it's that like constant, like it's almost like social media. It's like a scrolling thing and you're getting dopamine, 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 dopamine. So I have completely taken away the iPad. The only device that she has is her laptop and her Switch, which she has very much a time limit on. But on her laptop, I have noticed that she no longer wants to watch the videos for her curriculum, for her schooling, because she has noticed that it takes away from the time that she gets to do her educational game on her laptop. So that's what I mean by like a child is going to chase the dopamine. And so it's okay. And like, I have told her I will allow her more time for her educational game if she makes sure she does her schoolwork and utilizes those videos and such. So kids are always going to try to find a way out or a way to get around things. And if you have a really smart kid, sometimes they can break through these technological walls that we create to help keep our kids safe or like on that time limit. So, needless to say, in this endless rant, it feels like, is that I truly believe that in homeschooling that technology definitely doesn't hinder education. It can be a very useful tool and resource to your kid. Again, you have to go by your kid by kid and decide what is the best balance, what is the best way to utilize it in your home. You don't have to do it every day. You don't, that you can have your own set of rules behind it, but I don't think just like never exposing your kid to it is a good idea because it's going to happen eventually, whether they're at someone's house or, once they grow up. So anyways, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on screen time, on technology in a homeschool environment. I would love to hear about it. And if you have any other topics that you would like me to go over, leave them down below for me, and I'll see you in my next one.